Annie Roshak, 2 huge shots at the line, brings her up to 18 points today, and a timeout on the floor with 31.5 seconds left to go. 75-65. Eagles just 30 seconds away.
Roshak, 18 points, and we talked about a player at the line that's been consistent all season long, and specifically in the tournament. That's Olsen, but Annie Roshak the same way. 8 of 8 here today. She was 100% from the line against Glenville State, a consistent free throw shooter that you can rely on. She's got that veteran mentality. There's a reason why she has a double-double here today. 18 points, 11 rebounds. It's because when the Eagles need her the most, she shows up, she shines, and she helps the team find a victory, and they are just 31.5 seconds away from finding their 3rd national championship in program history, cementing head coach Carrie Pickens as the only player, assistant coach, and head coach in NCAA Division II history to win a national championship as all 3.
Coach Pickens breaking her team's huddle right now. Lots of smiles coming out of the huddle as they're going to have to play some defense down on the left side of the floor. With just 31.5 left to go. It'll be Hakamaki to trigger the sideline inbounds. Hakamaki gets it into Olsen. Right back to Hakamaki. A left wing 3, too strong off the heel. Battle for the rebound. Multiple players come crashing to the deck. It's won away by the Bulldogs. Now here's a right wing 3 from Rhodes. No good. Hakamaki wins away another offensive rebound. Olsen up, no good. Ball being batted around. Olsen finally goes up and finishes. 14.8 left to go. Eagles still holding on to an 8-point lead. Heidemann gets the inbound, and she is fouled quickly with 13.8 left to go, 75-65.
And 8-point differential between these two squads, and Heidemann has a chance to push it back to double digits. Can she do so? 1 of 2 from the line here today. Those 2 shots came in this 4th quarter, so now in clutch time with under 15 seconds left in the contest, 13.8 seconds away from a national championship. Can Heidemann close it out?
Heidemann flips the ball up in the air, now raises up with the right. Hallie Heidemann's got the first. 2 of 3 now from the charity stripe. The pivotal second free throw coming up to make it a 10-point game. Heidemann can't get it to go. Lead stands at 9. 13 seconds left to go. Here comes Thiessen across the timeline. Driving inside quickly. Goes up with the left. It's too strong. Roshak has the rebound, and she's fouled quickly. 76-67. Roshak hard to the deck, down in some pain. And now we'll make the walk with 4.9 seconds left to go and cap it off.
A 9-point differential between these two squads. Roshak has a chance to finish this one off in double digits, with the lead being set at either 10 or 11 if she can make them. It would also, if she makes the next 2, would push her into 20 points and 12 rebounds to finish this one.
Roshak able to rattle home the first. 9 of 9 from the free throw line now. Back to a 10-point lead. 4.9 seconds to go. Roshak, the right-handed dribble, raising up with the right, gets it to go. 78-67. 3 seconds. A 3 from the left wing is no good by Kaylee Nelson, and the final buzzer is sounded. From preseason expectations to a postseason reality, the Eagles are national champions.
What a victory it was for the Eagles. From Ashland, Ohio to St. Joseph, Missouri, to finishing the miracle run here in Dallas, Texas. The Eagles rose to the occasion, lost their footing at some points in this contest, but finished strong.
Eagles finished the season a perfect 37-0 and are national champions. Lock down the defense down the stretch. The Bulldogs just 1 of 7 on their last 7 field goal attempts. Cade, we talked about it. This looked dead similar to that game against Glenville State. Survive and advance, the motto of this tournament, and the Eagles survived just long enough.
What a game it was from the Eagles. At times this season, it looked like they would lose at least a game. They wouldn't keep that undefeated streak alive. A close contest against Malone to finish the regular season, a couple slip-ups along the way in the conference tournament, and then the regional tournament, but it all came down to this. The 3rd national championship The third title being hosted into the air in program history occurs in Dallas, Texas, on the grandest stage of them all, the 50th anniversary of Title IX. And the Eagles come out and showcase tremendous women's basketball as they lift the trophy and cement themselves in Division II history.
Third national title as a program for Ashland. Kate, as you mentioned, Coach Pickens now a national title as a player, an assistant coach, and now a head coach. She's led her team to the pinnacle of Division II women's basketball. 78-68 your final score. It was a tremendous game by the Eagles, a very well-rounded performance. 4 scorers in double figures, including Annie Roshak with 20 points and made her way to the free throw line. 10 of 10 makes for her.
20 points and 13 rebounds, so that double-digit, double performance proving to be that dividing factor between these two squads when all was said and done. Roshak at the line, 10 of 10, like you've said plenty of times here today, Ethan. But you talk about clutch moments, Annie Roshak is the queen of those clutch moments. Some final numbers here today so far. Annie Roshak, 20 points, 16 points from Zoe Miller, 10 points from Haley Smith, and 11 points from Hallie Heidemann. We talked about how important the 3 forwards were to this Eagles squad. Heidemann was able to do the same, and so now Annie Roshak, the Great Midwest Athletic Conference Player of the Year, is able to find herself a national championship.
78-67 your final score once again. Savea Brockington 8 points. The transfer from Purdue Northwest, Hallie Heidemann, in her last game ever as an Eagle with 11 points and a couple of key free throws down the stretch. Able to get 11 today. Maloney had 3 points on 1 of 4 from the field in what will be her last game as well. Smith with 10. We just mentioned Roshak with 20. Morgan Yoder able to come back after that hamstring injury, have 8 points today. Spielman had 2. And Zoe Miller rounding out the scoring with 16 points of her own, making for 78 total, and the number 1 team in field goal percentage in the nation, sitting at 52%, shot 51% today, but it is enough to win a national title.
On the other side of things, the runner-up this year, the Minnesota Duluth Bulldogs, coming up just short, but what a fourth quarter storm back it was. 27-19, outscored the Eagles by 8, led by Brooke Olson, 26 points, 7 rebounds, 9 of 19 from the field, 7 of 8 from beyond the arc. But outside of Olson, there wasn't much offensive construction from the Bulldogs. It was Thiessen with 11, Gilbertson with 14, 7 from Hamahaki, and other than that, not much really being displayed from the Bulldogs offense.
A couple of their key players got in foul trouble early, had to go to the bench. Of course, Rhodes fouling out with 5, Gilbertson fouling out with 5, and then Brooke Olson finished the game with 4 fouls. But that made the pivotal difference today. And the Eagles wrap up a perfect season, 37-0. Started out of conference with Wayne State and Indianapolis, Saginaw Valley State and Lewis, Truman State, and then that key matchup on Thanksgiving Eve against the number 7 team in the nation at the time, Drury. A 68-67 overtime win really gave the Eagles the momentum they needed. That sprung into an 104-46 win on December 3rd against the Tiffin Dragons, and then wins against Walsh, Northwood, Kentucky Wesleyan, Trevecca Nazarene all the way through the new year. And then the Eagles kept storming all the way through January. Wins against Cedarville, Northwood, Lake Erie, Walsh, Findlay, and Tiffin, along with Malone in January. Then the month of February came along, a month that's been very friendly to this squad over the past number of years. Wins at Hillsdale in a game that they almost broke the program record in threes, falling just 1 short. And then a win against Lake Erie, Ursuline, Ohio Dominican, along with a couple other GMAC schools through the month of February to finally get us to tournament time in the Great Midwest Athletic Conference Tournament. 69-52 win against Ursuline, 80-56 win against Malone, and then an 83-65 win against Trevecca Nazarene. Then came the Midwest Regional Tournament in the toughest region in the nation, no doubt about it. The Eagles were able to survive and advance out of that. A 72-65 win against Malone. All of these games in this tournament coming without their starting point guard, Morgan Yoder. And then a win against Trevecca Nazarene in the semifinal round. And then, of course, the two juggernauts of the Midwest region, the Grand Valley State Lakers and the Ashland Eagles, met in Cates Gymnasium on March 13th. The Eagles pull off a 61-58 win in that contest. And then the Eagles surviving against the number 8 seeded UT Tyler Patriots 81-72 in the Elite Eight, and then beat the reigning and defending national champions, but defending no longer. The Eagles are now the champions as they pulled off a 76-67 win against the Glenville State Pioneers in the Final Four, and have finally marched their way and climbed the mountain, finished off and capped off with a 78-67 win against the University of Minnesota Duluth Bulldogs.
In their second season, ending with a 37-0 overall record. The last time they did so came in the 2016-2017 season, where they finished 37-0 and then went on to have a 73-game win streak, which is the longest in NCAA history. The other two championships the Eagles secured outside of the one here today against Virginia Union back in 16-17, winning that one 93-77, a 16-point deficit, where they also had a little bit of a slip-up in the second half to allow the other team to come back. Ultimately, though, however, hosting and hoisting the trophy at the end of it, their first ever program national championship came against Dowling back in the 2012-2013 season, 71-56, but here, Ethan, 2022-2023 season, it's been 10 years since they found their first program's national championship. 10 years later, they find their program's third, and the Eagles most definitely own the 21st century when it comes to Division II women's basketball.
Third national championship as a program. Of course, Cade, locking down this game down the final stretch, once again at the free throw line. Your final thoughts on today's game?
What a big win it was from the Eagles. It was something we talked about, we were concerned about. Could Brooke Olsen run the court and extend leads and separate themselves from the Eagles? But Olsen ultimately held in check throughout the majority of the first half due to foul trouble. Came in the second half, started to explode out onto the scene and bring the contest back. But it came down to those leads being established early by the Eagles, going up into double digits, heading into halftime with such a monumental lead and keeping the Bulldogs in check. That came down to the finishing contest and how the contest ended out in its way that it did. But ultimately, the Eagles keeping their footing, keeping their pedal down to the metal, and winning this one.
78-67 your final score. The Eagles are national champions.